Hello, everyone. It is Nigel here once again, and welcome to episode 2 of System Shock Radio. And it is time to shock the system. All right, so we are going to get started, but first things first. Sorry for the no show last week. I wasn't feeling too well, and it's time for the answer to last time's riddle. So, um, just a quick recap. Apologies. Just a quick recap. Last uh last time we were here, which was a couple of weeks ago, the riddle was this. I just pull up notes. So, the riddle was this. You have three bags of coins and you have a scale. And um hello Nehemiah, good to see you. So, you have three bags of coins and you have a scale. And one bag is filled with fake coins. Your job is to find out which bag it is that is filled with the fake coins. Now, you can only use the scale one time, and you can't use it after that. So, the answer to this riddle. Oh, by the way, something important I have to mention for the riddle is that each coin weighs about 1 ounce. Each real coin weighs 1 ounce, and then each fake coin weighs 1.1 ounces. So, you only get to use the scale one time, and that's how much each coin weighs. I'm not sure if that's how much actual coins weigh, but for the sake of this riddle, that's how much they weigh. So, the answer was this. So, um, it's actually really simple. So you take one coin from the first bag, and then you take two coins from the second bag. And this is an answer that has kind of multiple different avenues that it can go. If the scale reads 3.0 ounces, that means the third bag is fake. If it weighs 3.1 ounces, then the first bag is fake. But if it reads 3.2 ounces, that means the second bag is fake. It's a bit tricky. It's something you have to think about for a second. So, I will reveal next week's riddle as soon as we are done with the rest of everything that we're going to go through today. So, um, on to our first main topic for this video. We're going to talk about streaming services. Now, in this day and age, and let me just there we go. Sorry. All right. So, with this day and age, a lot of ways that people watch things on like TV and stuff, and something is sorry, something was going on with my mic. I will take a look at it as soon as we are done here. So, in this day and age of streaming services, is that's how we watch our TV and movies and stuff. We have stuff like Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus, and even DC has one nowadays. HBO Go, Amazon Prime Video, all kinds of stuff, and I think it's all super cool, well, and everything that you're able to watch stuff almost on demand. I know a lot of people aren't too thrilled about something like that, especially because as this kind of intentionally unintentionally led to the death of our beloved Blockbuster. Rest in peace, Blockbuster. I used to go there almost all the time. But I think it's like super cool that in this day and age we can get stuff almost on demand from almost anywhere. You can watch it from almost any device. It's like laptop, uh, cell phone, TV, computer, just about anywhere. And I think that is so cool, but also a bit creepy. And the reason I say it's a bit creepy is because it seems like a life almost doesn't exist without it, if that makes any sense. Like, we've become so accustomed to it that a lot of us don't remember life without that stuff. Well, not a lot of us, but some of us. And with young children, if they grow up with that, that's sort of the norm for them, if you understand what I'm saying. So it's cool, but of course, it does have its problems. Like it freezes up from time to time, and sometimes it's hard to watch. Sometimes the programming, especially what I find on Netflix, isn't really that interesting. Only because a lot of the stuff on Netflix doesn't really appeal to me too much. I know a lot of people for the Netflix shows sort of go goo goo gaga, but I'm not one of them. At least not me. So with that being said, let's move on to our next topic. And we are actually going to sort of briefly talk about gaming. Now, oh, me, ever since I was a wee little tyke, I've always loved video games. They always seem so cool to me, so much to the point where, or what I'm going to college for now is actually game design. I want to design my own video games because I think the process is so cool. It's not an easy process at all. In fact, like from what I heard, it's very, very strenuous, but it's such a cool topic, at least in my opinion, because well, it's a cool topic and it's something cool to do because it seems that a lot of work goes into it, and when you program a lot of like the movements and stuff for video game characters, there's it it's a very interesting process. Like there's someone in charge of animating the movements of video game characters, their fluidity and stuff like that. There's someone in charge of textures and background details and everything. There's someone in charge of the music, the score, or and oftentimes us gamers have come to realize that the music oftentimes can either make or break a game. For example, Sonic the Hedgehog's. A lot of Sonic the Hedgehog's games not that great, but the music has saved them time and time again. And at least according to me, according to a lot of people, even the worst Sonic game, which was Sonic '06, Sonic the Hedgehog that came out in 2006, it was rushed, it was buggy, and it was full of glitches, but the soundtrack was awesome. But I say all that to say my favorite video game personally has to be Mr. Spyro the Dragon. Spyro the Dragon is someone that's always fascinated me and interested me, and its video game franchise is one that I've played since I was a little boy, and that I still sort of play to this day with the Reignite trilogy. And that's just because it's so like simplistic to the point where it has a very very nice pick up and play nature. There's some games like which game am I thinking of? Probably like um let's go Metal Gear Solid where or it relies a lot on stealth and it's kind of it takes some adjusting to get used to the controls and everything. But with Spire, you can start pick it up and play it almost instantly. It's a very simplistic control feature, which uses mainly like 3 or 4 buttons, and it's not a whole lot to it. There's a lot of exploration. The world and the colors in the world look very, very vibrant and very appealing. It's worlds that you want to look at. Now, some worlds in the Spyro the Dragon games aren't necessarily the most colorful, but there are some that are extremely colorful and just very lush and very beautiful. It's just one of those things where you look at it for the first time, you're just like, wow. And it's a game that it's also fun to watch someone play. Like sometimes when I'm playing, either my dad, my mom, my little sister might join me, and they may be looking at it and they're like, "Oh, that looks kind of cool." Sometimes even who I play around me, she's fascinated by it. She's like, "Oh, that looks so cool." Well, it's one of those things where it's also fun to watch someone play. And if they die a bunch of times, that's fun to watch as well. So that's why I love it so much. And of course, the soundtrack for that game is awesome. Remember what I was saying earlier about that soundtrack and how sometimes it makes or breaks the game? It definitely does here. And the soundtrack for the original trilogy that came out in the 90s was composed by Mr. Stuart Copeland, who was the drummer for the band The Police. So he composed the soundtrack, and man, it is awesome. If you get a chance, just listen to that soundtrack. It's really good. But moving on, we are actually going to talk a little bit about individuality. Now, individuality is something that is so important to me, and it's important to me because individuality is something that makes us all unique. So, uh, really quickly, the definition of individuality. I'm just going to look up the textbook definition for it really quickly, and it says the quality or character of a particular person or thing that distinguishes them from others of the same kind, especially when strongly marked or separate existence. So, basically, what that's saying is it's what separates you from other people and makes you unique. And so, I feel that individuality is so strong, and I feel that people should never, ever, ever do something in their lives only simply because they saw someone else do it, and so they're like, "Oh, I want to do that." Be individual, be you, be unique. I want to see you for you. I want to see the real you for you. I want to see a carbon copy of someone else. If I wanted to see that other person, I'd go see that other person. And oh my goodness, my mic is acting up again. Please stop. Thank you. If you could stop acting up, that'd be great. Thank you. But um what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. Oh, individuality. So, individuality, I believe, is super important, and it's one of the things that shaped society as we know it. A lot of like poets and artists and everything, TV personalities, because they were different, because they set themselves apart from the standard, from the norm, that allowed a lot of people to enjoy their work and enjoy whatever it is they were doing. Like, for example, let's see, let's go with Bob Ross. So, Mr. Bob Ross is someone that I enjoy watching on YouTube. He had a show back in the 90s before a good portion of us were born called The Joy of Painting. And he was so individual, he was so unique. It's something that people love, is because for example, he was always positive. He, I'm sorry. Trying to formulate the words here. My apologies, but he was always positive, and anytime he sort of like messed up a little bit on his painting, he just said, "We didn't mess up. There's no mistake. Just happy little accidents." That's my terrible Bob Ross impression, but because of his uniqueness and his individuality and everything, because he was an individual, and because he was just over there painting happy little bushes and happy little trees. Because he was painting happy little bushes and happy little trees and everything. And people liked him. People enjoyed watching him. They wrote to him all the time. He got so many views on his Joy Painting TV show, and it broke people's heart when he passed away. And it's to the point where people are still watching his videos on YouTube. They have full length episodes of his stuff on YouTube. But individuality not just works with personality or arts, but it also works with music. Some musicians like Prince and everything were different than a lot of like traditional singers. People like Queen, they were different. They stood apart, but it made them successful. It made them popular just because they stood apart, because they were individual, because they were unique, because they had a different sound than the norm that was going on at the time, which was very formal dress, shirt, tux, suit, bow tie, everything. And they said, "Hey, not we're gonna do it a bit of a different way," and that's why I enjoy listening to people like them, Prince, um, Prince, Queen, Jimi Hendrix, all of them, and course, listen to who you listen to, and that's what makes you unique as well. Everything you say and do and act upon is what makes you individual and unique. And I want you, yes, you, to keep being your little individual self. But that is it for the main topics. But we are not quite done yet, because I have to give you your riddle for next week. So, I have to give you your riddle for next week. So, trying to think of a good one. And there was one that I did want to tell, but I'm not really feeling that one. I feel like that one's kind of easy. Hmm. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Hmm. Hmm, hmm, hmm. That's the thing about riddles is I like the type of riddles I like. I like really clever ones, ones that make you think, ones that uh, definitely stand out and are individual. It even works with riddles as well. Ones that aren't too easy, ones you have to think about, kind of. And that's kind of what I do with some of my poetry. If you're on my poetry page, that's kind of what I do with some of my poetry. I make you think a little bit. So sometimes it's a little vague, but I just want to make you think, make your mind jog a little bit, exercise your mind a little bit, and exercise mine as well. But um, shoot, let's go with it. So, what runs but doesn't have feet? That's your riddle. What runs but doesn't have feet? And that is it for this week's episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in, joining me here today, and I will see you all later. Peace. Have an awesome week.